FedEx doesn't usually play the weather hype game, but for a weekend snowstorm right on May's doorstep, let's do it for a minute. It'll be fun. Impending white doom. Panicked people flee brew pub patios for 36 hours of mild to moderate inconvenience. Then, after that, what's next? Side by side, Colorado senators on President Trump's first 100 days. It's not just a golf course in Denver that's changing forever. If it were just that, he wouldn't be so upset. People hide their drug habits and their homelessness under these bridges. An artist aims to bring them out into the light.
We have to preserve everybody's basic humanity.
It's a crucial day for the A-line and a promise involving a party hat. Right after the storm of the weekend.
Really enjoyed that. It's not every day weather is profiled so highly on Next, so very cool. And why not? Look outside. Here it is. A powerful spring storm is moving into Colorado. I'm Chief Meteorologist Kathy Sabin. You're going to wake up to a winter wonderland. We're under a winter storm warning. Heavy wet snow could down power lines, break tree branches, and just get your weekend off to, well, kind of a chilly start. We have an area low pressure pulling cold air in from the north. The low is slowing down. That's the problem. Now a prolonged period of snow means temperatures will stay just above freezing tomorrow, and some areas west and south of the city could be looking at up to a foot of wet, sloppy snow. Here downtown, more like 3 to 6 inches of snow. A lot of melting initially. Oh, and it won't last long, but while it's here, you'll know it's here. We'll start to see drier air working in from the north by midday tomorrow. But then, tomorrow night, hard freeze conditions. Not tonight. Winter storm warning, rain to snow, blustery cold, lows in the 20s. Tomorrow, winter storm warning with 3 to 6 inches of snow in the city, but over a foot west and south of town above 7,000 feet. Things improve in the afternoon, but bitter cold. Those of you that turned on your sprinklers and did some planting, oh, I'm sorry. Sunday looks good. Sunny, 56, almost 60 on Monday and Tuesday, but it's been snowing in the high country all day long. We should just extend out that spring skiing season. Don't you think, Kyle?
Absolutely. I'm on board. Thank you, Kathy. So Colorado senators, they can't seem to be convinced to hold a town hall with all of you. But we do give Republican Cory Gardner and Democrat Michael Bennet credit for sitting down with our politics guy Brandon Rittiman in Washington. He asked them whether President Trump is forever changing the way that Americans will view campaign promises. Now listen, sometimes Brandon and I can get in the weeds on politics. Today he's in the trees.
If you've been paying attention at all, you know President Trump's first 100 days have been packed with news on every different topic you could possibly think of. Not surprisingly, since Colorado's 2 U.S. senators come from different sides of the aisle, they have different takes on how those first 100 days have gone. But we wanted to drill down a little bit on something specific, particularly some of the campaign promises that President Trump made while he was a candidate that he has since abandoned. Are you concerned we're reaching a point where campaigns are going to become less relevant because people can't trust the person to do what they say they're going to on the campaign trail?
Well, campaigns are always relevant, and I think if you look at the decisions that the president has made, let's talk about things like NAFTA. I think the president had said he would withdraw from NAFTA. Yesterday he said he's not. That's a good decision. So whether he flip-flopped on it or whether he changed his mind, I'm glad that.
I'm glad he said that.
I'm glad that he's no longer going to do that. So you know,
and he's saying he still wants to review it and whatever, but
right,
yeah,
he's not going to pull out. I mean, that would be devastating
right.
for Colorado if that were to happen. So I think you have campaigns and you have candidates that change their mind, but in that particular instance and some others, I'm grateful that he has.
I do think your word means something, and the promises that you make, the commitments that you make on the campaign trail ought to amount to something. It's not that you can't change your mind. In fact, I think it's a virtue if politicians change their mind when they learn new facts that leads them to a different conclusion. But I think that we should expect more of our political leadership than we do, and I worry a lot when you've got a president who's attacking the independent judiciary, when you have a president who's attacking the free press. We've gotten to the point now where we just expect that people are going to make up their own facts, that they're going to occupy their own partisan terrain, and that's not going to put the country where it needs to go.
You can catch our extended interview with Senators Michael Bennet and Cory Gardner on Balance of Power Sunday morning at 8:45. That's right before Meet the Press here on Channel 9. On Capitol Hill, for Next, I'm Brandon Rittiman.
Reaction to our unscheduled accountability session with Congressman Ken Buck in Washington yesterday has been predictably partisan. The blue team cheered us, the red team booed us. We've come to expect that with political coverage, and it swings the other way when we hold a Democrat to account. But a viewer who took issue with our approach raises an issue that's worth discussing. Steve Collins said it was ambush journalism at its worst. Now, there are some television stations that use those surprise interviews all the time, kind of like news theater. We tend to think that they don't make the reporter look very good or make the person being interviewed look very good. But sometimes they're the only way to get an answer. Our next team can recall only one other recent example where we tracked down Denver Mayor Michael Hancock on a topic that he wanted to avoid. But anyway, we'd like to hear from you on when you think it's acceptable for us to approach a public official in public for answers that they would rather not provide. In the case of Congressman Buck, his factually conflicting statements on the repeal of Obamacare needed some clarification. He canceled a scheduled interview with us and wouldn't set up another one. So we stopped by his office while we were in Washington. Was it the right approach? Do you think we were over the line? We're genuinely curious on what you think. Email next@9news.com or get our attention with the hashtag HeyNext.
Driving around town, you might have seen those ditch the ditch signs in people's yards. Long story short, it all has to do with the expansion of I-70 and a citywide construction project to reshape the storm drainage system. The city will tell you the two aren't connected. The critics say they are. That's not what this story is about. Part of that drainage project would build a huge retention pond at City Park Golf Course. That means the course will close at the end of this year and the whole thing will be redesigned. A brand new golf course will open in 2019. I played City Park on Monday and got paired up with a Denver native who has a strong opinion.
My name's Andy Lightford. I'm a fourth-generation Denver native. I grew up playing City Park Golf Course. It's one of my happiest places on earth. There's so many different factors that make this golf course a special place. It's in the middle of the city. It has the best views of the city. It's with great sadness that we're learning that we're going to lose City Park as we know it. It's suffocating. I guess that's the word that I would use because we're Western people, we're Colorado people. None of us were originally from here, so we want people to come here. We welcome it, but a lot of times we feel like our traditions and the things that we love are being trampled on. I'm almost 50, but it seems like I've seen the amount of growth that most people would see over the course of 100 years I've witnessed just in the last 10 years. I got emotional then, but I got emotional now. But that's how much this course means to people like me. We love it here. We love our city. We're tired of watching it go away.
Now, the city says this drainage project is necessary to relieve flooding problems in neighborhoods. A group is suing the city over the City Park plan, claiming the city is trying to illegally convert the course into non-park use land.
People feel strongly about their golf. Steve, thank you. Ask it with me now, people. All together now. Is the A-line working today? The train to the plane. Yes, I'm telling you, A-line's on a hot streak right there. Listen, the people love it. They love it. Today, RTD got another waiver from federal regulators to work out the kinks that RTD says have already been unkinked and are just awaiting dekinkification verification. Now, this does not mean that they can start testing the G-line to Arvada. That would be a separate permission slip from the feds. But listen, there ain't no party like an A-line party because an A-line party don't stop unless the train breaks. But I've promised the day that the train gets the all clear, we will be on board for next. I'll be wearing an I Heart the A-line shirt and a party hat, as seen here. Colorado's warmer weather pattern this spring has bees doing their bee business out in the open more often. Our Jessica O found roughly half of the bees in Denver in one poor guy's house.
I woke up yesterday and looked out the window and freaked out.
His home in Cap Hill is prime real estate, but David Strauss never imagined so many new neighbors would want to move here at once.
It's not like I have beautiful flowers around me. It's just dumb luck. I'm just really worrying about more how do I get rid of them because I don't want to kill them.
A swarm is one thing. 4 on one tree requires a pro.
We're going to collect these bees. We're going to put them into hives.
Greg McMahon, Denver's bee guru, typically doesn't get a lot of calls about swarms or hives this early, but this year's different.
6-10 calls a day since April 1st. It's just been so warm. Everything's 3 weeks ahead of time. There you go.
Colonies are much bigger than they should be this time of year.
You're right. He did shake them. Holy cow.
I mean, it looked pretty small hanging on the branch, but look how many bees are in there.
There are 10,000 bees in this swarm alone. David's gonna miss them.
The idea of floating bees, I don't know, I thought it was cool.
Happy his honeybee neighbors will find a new home a little bit more suitable than his yard.
Doesn't get any better than that.
For Next, I'm Jessica O.
Good job.
If you have surplus bees, do not call an exterminator, please. This article in the next section on 9news.com has a phone number for free bee relocation. That's what you do. So next is taking you beneath the bridges on the Cherry Creek Trail to see the homelessness and drug use there. Today, photojournalist Ann Herbst goes back alongside an artist who's envisioning a step toward a solution.
Here we've got all these nice greens because it's a good spring and everything's in bloom.
Even with so much inspiration,
Beautiful day.
Eric Shoemake says there's something missing from his paintings along Cherry Creek.
What I'm painting is the absence of the people who have been swept away.
People that Eric says the city has unfairly removed.
This has been a sanctuary for homeless people when they have nowhere else to go. Can't dehumanize them just because we label them an addict or a homeless person. If it's the pretty bridges that folks want, we'll paint some of those, and while we're at it, we'll let them know about maybe a better solution, which is treating addiction like a medical problem instead of a moral problem.
So this artist who wears what's in his heart on his sleeve,
That love is the way.
is painting each of the 28 bridges that cross Cherry Creek.
It's called the Cherry Creek Bridge Project. Its purpose is to raise awareness and money for the Harm Reduction Action Center. It's a needle exchange program and an outreach and education program for addicts, heroin addicts.
This project,
Even a hint of the blue sky there.
is also personal.
I've lost 2 young cousins and an uncle to heroin over the last decade, so I think about them a lot when I'm painting.
Eric says it's not beauty that's missing here.
Exactly. Keep it simple.
It's compassion.
How's it going? Hey.
Something he hopes to help bring back.
Good. Everybody talks about starving artists. You know, if we can raise money and awareness, imagine what we can all do together.
For Next, this is Ann Herbst.
Eric has about half of the 28 bridges painted. He's selling his paintings Saturday night at the Dateline Gallery in Rhino, and the details on the proceeds are in this article on 9news.com. He wasn't trying to break the internet today, but, you know, cute dogs, ridiculously good-looking singing veterinarian, it was going to happen.
What better kind of audience to share something with?
The most Colorado thing we saw today seems like a scene we've seen, and then it takes a turn. And the Colorado governor's race includes a name most don't know, but probably should. We'll meet him next. Well, it was a peaceful moment until the Yahoo and the red van came speeding through. This is up in Estes Park, where elk should not ever be a surprise, so there's no reason for that to be happening. The folks who took this video were rightfully annoyed, and so should the rest of us in Colorado. Don't do nature like that, people. The internet's getting all weak-kneed over a veterinarian in Lakewood. Dr. Ross Henderson grabbed a guitar recently to soothe a stressed-out dog with little Elvis. Someone was taking a video, and the rest is internet history.
Barrington, sit, Barrington, sit.
There's something special about our 4-legged friends. It's cool just when they're kind of running around, they're kind of jumping up on the cage and stuff, and then going to kind of relax, sleepy, and feeling better, you know. So if only I could do it with every puppy, I think that would be nice. But
they might try and pee if anybody pets them. just right, or lick the plate clean if anybody lets them. I just might.
I grew up playing piano for forever, classical piano, and then guitar, and then started singing, and then started playing at different places. But so it's my Batman life, because I like to play music. You wouldn't think there's a good merging of music and veterinary medicine, but maybe I've found the niche, you know, just playing for one person audience.
Bring that monster stealing kisses when you're trying to snuggle your missus.
Oh, what better kind of audience to share something with, and for them to feel calmed by it, I think is of course incredibly rewarding, you know.
Slip away.
Hey, good job.
By the way, ladies, I could see you peering at the screen at Dr. Ross's left hand to see if he was single. He's married, quite happily. Do taxes need to be increased somewhere?
Not a new question, but a surprisingly honest answer from a man who wants to be governor. And then, children, tricked into learning today.
I go skip education for the day, which means basically a longer weekend.
We get medieval on your good news. Next.
Next is filmed before a live studio audience. Actually, it's live before a live studio audience. Hey, people, thanks for coming by today. One Democrat who is running for governor of Colorado is not like the others. Noel Ginsburg is a businessman. Kicks off his campaign with a statewide tour this weekend. He stopped here first to tell us what he thinks the already crowded Democratic primary field is missing.
Well, I think what it's missing is someone that doesn't come directly out of politics from an elected office.
When President Trump, then candidate Trump, said that the government should be run like a business, I heard his liberal critics say government can't and should not be run like a business. What do you think?
Well, I think the truth is that government is not simply like business, and that you can't just walk in and expect that the same principles that work in business to apply in government. However, there are many things that do. And recognizing that at the end of the day, if the revenue coming in from taxes doesn't match the expenses, then you have deficits, which we can't have in this state. So how you make sure that the investments we make and the dollars we spend in government actually have the highest return for the taxpayer and our citizens. And you get that from business perspective.
What does your business expertise tell you is a much bigger problem than Coloradans realize right now, and what's your proposed solution?
I think one of the biggest problems we have, and I would call it part of this, the foundation of the state, is our infrastructure. And although it costs money to fix, repair, and grow, the reality of it is it has a return.
So let's talk about the fix. There are conservatives that are floating a plan that say you can just reallocate dollars and not increase taxes. Do taxes need to be increased somewhere to pay for big-time infrastructure?
I believe they do. In a state where we fund public education 48th out of 50 states, to say that in some way we're going to be able to reallocate dollars, I think is just a figment of someone's imagination.
Now is the wintry storm of our discontent, but we still found your good news at Denver Shakespeare Festival.
My good news is that I got to make it to the Shakespeare Festival with my friends, and I get to have fun.
I got to hang out with my cousin, and we got to do really fun things and be girly and do our hair.
Once again, you bring good news.
My good news is that I don't really have homework over the weekend.
Shall we be married then tomorrow morning? No, this shall forbid it.
Once again, you bring good news. That's pretty much all the good news right now.
Your feedback on our surprise interview with Congressman Ken Buck. Bob Alcone says, I'm on the red team, and I thought it was right on. Sometimes ambushes are the only way. Brent Nichols says, it's distasteful, but if they're avoiding you, I guess just keep it rare. I'm with you on that. All right, I will see everyone who survives the impending white doom next time.